How's it going, guys? I'm here with Oceans Under Stars for a quick rig rundown. We're in Tokyo, Japan on tour. Let's get into it. Who do we got over here?
Braden Ramstead, lead guitar and background vocals.
Ryan Berhalke, bass guitar.
Jonah Webster, drums.
Barrett Klesko, guitars and vocals.
Great. All right, here we have Barrett, front man of the band, lead vocalist, some rhythm guitar, production, big part of the sound here. So, what can you tell us about your rig, your main rig, pedal board, guitars?
Sure. Well, we're on tour right now. We're in Japan, so we have our fly rig with us today. When we're back at home, we run a slightly different setup. So this is our minimized rig, so we could fly with it properly. Yeah, a bunch of modelers, a bunch of cool guitars, and an interesting rack system for our monitors.
Great. Well, let's get into it. The essential part of your rig, your guitar. All right, Barrett. Now, what can you tell us about the guitar you brought with you overseas?
Absolutely. So I brought my Baum Wingman. So this is a brand new guitar for me. I got it just about a month or two ago. And it's just insanely cool guitar. So it's kind of this weird offset kind of jazz master kind of Firebird-ish sort of thing with all this like amazing contouring and stuff. I did a little bit of modification with it. So I pulled out the original bridge. It had a Tune-o-matic roller thing going on, and I put in this Evertune, which is just like an absolute necessity to me in all my instruments. It's got these really interesting P90 pickups. They're wound a little bit different than some of the other ones I've tried, and yeah, it's a really interesting guitar. Maple neck and a Bayer body, which is like not a wood I'd ever heard of before, but sounds and feels great, and it's like super thin and super cool, and I just absolutely love it.
Great. Now, when you're walking through the guitar store, what are you like? What catches your eye? Why did you choose this guitar?
Well, so I didn't get this at a guitar store. I had to order this directly through the company. They're based in Denmark, I believe. And then these are short runs that they do out of Indonesia. But for me, it's something different. Like, I want to look at a guitar and be like the one thing that jumps out because it's not a Strat or a Les Paul or whatever. Like, I want something different and interesting and unique. I'm a huge gearhead. I'm really drawn to like the beauty and craftsmanship of interesting instruments, and that's what pulls me to it. Because you can make almost any instrument sound good, right? But if it's sitting on your shelf and every time you walk by it, it catches your eye, it makes you want to play it. It makes me want to play it, and it means I'll pick it up, I'll play it more often, and then I can talk about it with people too, because that's half the fun, right?
Okay, let's get into your pedal board now. You guys have a signature sound, shoegaze, grunge gaze. This is a core element in your guys' sound. So let's just talk me through it here.
Sure. So what we have with us today, we're using Headrush core units. The reason we chose these over some of the other modelers, in part, is because we can also do some vocal processing with it. There's also some really great routing options, so we can use that to run our monitors, which we'll talk about in a minute, of course. In the studio at home, we record everything on analog gear, so it's analog amps, pedals, that sort of thing. And then live, we're very much like an amps on stage type of band. Obviously, when you fly, you can't bring all your amps with you, so we've recreated everything in these, and they've been great. So generally we've gone through and just rebuilt all of our effects from the albums in it pretty accurately, and we can process guitars, obviously, and then vocals as well. We're doing things like a really simple EQ curve and some basic compression just to make things a little bit smoother, a little easier on the sound guys. And then we run all of our splits out of this. And this is one of the great things about these Headrush units, is that we can split both the guitars and the vocals. So we can send to front of house or to an amp, which is what we do at home. And we can send to our in-ear rig without having to run a split snake or do any repatching on stage from the sound guys. So it's really, we just throw a couple of cables out on stage, plug in, and our in-ears are pre-mixed and ready to go.
Love to hear it. Okay. Now, what is one piece of gear that you could not live on this tour without?
I'm going to go back to the Evertune. It's that. If everything else failed, at least I'd be in tune. Right.
Love it. Yes, you
yeah.
gotta be in tune, especially the humidity in Japan must be a huge difference between Edmonton, Alberta, and across the Pacific.
Absolutely, we'd be getting drift and change and all of that constantly. So I can play through, if I had to, I could play through any amp, I could sing through any mic, just have monitors coming off the front of the stage, but at least I'd know I was in tune.
Okay, well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What's one setting or trick that fans would be surprised to learn about with your rig?
To get the sound that we do, it's very fuzz focused, but we also have like a lot of like amp, like high gain overdrive hidden in there as well. So a trick that we do that I don't see a lot of other bands doing is that we use big muffs as boost pedals. So whereas in like a more traditional band, you'd get a high gain amp and you'd be running like a tube screamer or something before to tighten it up, get rid of some of the low end, boost the mids a bit. We're doing basically the exact opposites. We're driving our amps with big muff pedals. So it's doing literally the opposite. It's scooping the tone a little bit, but it's giving it a fuzz characteristic before it even hits the front of the amp. And that's how we get our tone.
Very intuitive. I love it. Is there a specific album or guitarist that inspired your setup?
Yeah, definitely. A funny thing going back to the origins of this band, it started out as an experiment in sound design, essentially. I was out of just general curiosity, I was collecting bits and pieces of gear to rebuild the recording setup that the Smashing Pumpkins used for Siamese Dream. And I captured a lot of it, not everything, because some of that stuff gets super rare. And then I started messing around with it and recording with it, and it kind of morphed into our sound. So it's based on some of what they would have been using in the studio at the time, but it turned into this like kind of doomier, heavier thing in our lower tunings. And like the feel of those recording tests are what eventually evolved into this project.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Now, what would you say is the most reliable piece of gear that you've ever owned?
It's probably my in-ears. So I think I used a set of Sennheiser in-ears, and I bought my first pair of those in about 1999, and they've survived for
wow,
how many years is that? 30 years.
That's
almost.
crazy.
Yeah, and just have never died.
So you'd recommend those to touring bands?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The in-ears are an absolute must, and you can almost always rely on them.
Great, I love it. Okay. And one more question. Now, with your sound such high tech, that's a lot to deal with on a setup on a tour. So, do you guys use backing tracks at all?
No, ish, let's say. So we run all of our live instruments. So guitars, vocals, bass, drums, all of that is live. We don't do any backing tracks with any of that. We do have things like bass drops and some intros to songs that we run to the front of the house from our board. John can talk to that in a little bit here. And we send some vocal effects as well out that way, but everything else is we just do live off the floor, or live in the room, I should say.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much, Barrett. I think we'll grab one of your other members. Thanks
for your time.
All right, we're here with Jono.
Yo.
Drummer, backbone of the whole organization. What can you tell me about what you're playing for this tour? Being a drummer and all, did you bring your whole kit with you?
No, unfortunately, they charge you per item. So to bring a giant drum set is very expensive. So for this tour here in Japan, I simply brought my pedals, my trusty pedals that I've been around the world with me several times now. I think I've been using the same set for about 15 years. I've replaced almost every part on it. And they are absolutely essential to what I do, and like the feel and the power and like precision I need for this band. Like, because of these pedals, I can get that.
Okay, great. Now, as a drummer, as your primary role with the band, you also manage your monitor setup, in-ears. You are the mixing engineer of the whole operation. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah. I mean, because I'm the one that's sitting, I get to do all the grunt work for that stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, we've got our monitor rig here, which is kind of mostly what I want to talk to you guys about today. But yeah, it's like a fairly simple but really effective way of making sure that we can always hear ourselves night to night, venue to venue. It just keeps the important things really consistent. And I mean, for me, I've noticed like a huge change in like quality of what we can do when we can all hear ourselves in the ways that we need to hear. So I can just quickly kind of walk you through what we have going on here. So this bottom chunk here is our we've got an X32 that we've crammed into the smallest flight case we could find. So it's, you know, as Barrett was saying earlier, like we've got splits coming off of the pedals and the microphone. So we're not actually most of the stuff or all the stuff that's plugged into here, we're not sending any of that to front of house from this mixer. So it just is a much more simplified version of what a lot of bands are out there that I see doing. So yeah, we've got like the inputs, we've got our wireless units already pre-mounted. Everything's dialed in, running through the X32 app here, so we can do any like quick monitor change stuff on the fly. Or if you can't hear enough like sub drop, just turn that up a little bit. And yeah, I mean that's it for monitors. Like we've got a very simple sort of backing track system, we'll call it, but it's primarily just like a click that we're listening to. We've got a couple like tricky little MIDI change things happening on some of the guitar pedals to again just free up that mental space so that Barrett can focus on singing and get all the changes where he needs them when he needs them. But yeah, aside from that, it's just sub drops. I put a lot of snare bombs in this too, so you know, instead of just a little snare drum, you get this huge sound, which I'm a big fan of. And if you listen, like basically every snare drum hit on the album is a snare bomb, and then there's actual snare bombs that are even bigger, so it's just fun. But
oh, great, that's amazing. Now diving into that a little deeper, even though we covered pretty much everything, when you say snare bomb, to our new mixing friends who are learning a lot of these new terms, what would you say that is?
It's when you take the reverb and you put it all the way up, and it's just like reverb snare. It's like, think of the big 80s like gated thing, but if it went on forever.
Okay,
it's like just a big sound.
Well, that's great. We've definitely heard a lot of those. Okay, now, what's one setting or trick that you've learned that fans might be surprised to learn?
I don't know, being not stubborn, but like being persistent about getting your monitor mix where it needs to be and being able to hear what you need to hear is like, honestly, every gig I've had that's not gone well is because I couldn't hear things. So, you know, switching to in-ears, having like control over your own, that's the better way of saying it. Having control over your own monitors, just eliminating that variable from night to night. Because, I mean, most sound guys are busy running a lot of other things. So just taking one thing off their plate and putting it back in my hands, that's the trick.
Great. Okay, well, thank you. Now, what is one piece of gear that you couldn't do without on this tour?
I'll bring it back to my pedals, honestly. I've had these Tama Iron Cobras, like I said, 15 years. And yeah, they feel like home. I don't know how else to say it. It's just that is absolutely essential for me. It's the only thing I'm willing to fly with and like not have leg space on the airplane because I want these pedals.
Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. Iron Cobras are some mean pedals for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. One last question, I guess. What's the most reliable piece of gear that you've ever owned?
Well, I can't just keep saying my pedals, but I guess honestly the X32. Been using this in a variety of bands for a while now, and it's gotten me through a lot. I've recorded a lot through it too. It's a multi-purpose kind of tool for me.
And now, is this the same rig you guys have used for recording your album and your studio stuff?
The drums, yes. I mean, guitar and vocals, no. We were using, I mean, it would have been Barrett's interface, but yeah. Okay. For all the drums and percussion and stuff, yeah.
Great. Wow. Thanks so much. I think we'll I think we're good. Beautiful. Thanks. All right. We got Ryan here, Mr. Bass. Let's start off with the most important question of the tour. What are you playing? What did you bring with you from Canada?
All right. Well, from Canada, I brought my Canadian-made Dingwall ABZ. I've had this since 2015. She's the most reliable bass I've ever owned. It's got a swamp ash body and a bird's eye maple neck. Nice, simple, active, passive, just in case I need to change tones on the spot. Yeah, this is the one.
Okay, beautiful. Now, is there anything... Now, bass players spend a lot of time, I find, have a lot of passion with their instruments. They get really close to them as far as all the bass players I've met. Is there anything that you've done to personalize your bass for what you need with this band?
When I ordered it, I did install a custom, like a 2-band EQ. That's not stock on this bass. And this string tree on top here. This is not stock as well. Sometimes I notice there's some chimes that comes through on strings. So I installed that.
Beautiful. Okay. Now, important question. Pick or no pick?
Depends on the context.
Oh, context. Okay.
I can do either or.
Okay.
But for this band, no pick.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, let's run through your pedal board and what you've kind of accumulated over the years and how it attains to your sound.
Yeah. So this is a new rig for me. I've switched to the Quad Cortex for this tour for simple switching, and I can stack a lot of different effects at once without having to try and do some pedal dancing as I normally would with my other pedal board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, without doing the pedal dance, do you guys have some kind of a live trigger to trigger changes, or how do you go about changing between songs?
Not for this tour or not. I'm triggering them manually. So depending on the song, I have different scenes that I'll go to. I do have a home scene that I typically stay within, but there's certain songs where I need to have different effects stacked, so I'll just go to a different scene for that.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Now, what is the one piece of gear you couldn't live without in this tour?
Well, I'm gonna bring it back to my Dingwall bass.
Yeah, the bass.
It's the best bass I've ever owned, and I don't think she'll ever quit on me.
It has to be. Couldn't do your job without it. Now, what's one setting or trick that you've learned that fans might be surprised to learn about?
Well, with bass in a live situation, some might know this already, but a little distortion goes a long way in a live setting. It allows you to have a bit more character and a bit more cut, especially when you're dealing with loud guitars and loud drums. It has a nice way of attacking its way through. So if you've ever played bass with a little distortion, and it could be any distortion, they all have different flavors, that will make your live sound punch it just a bit more and have a bit more clarity.
Okay. So some good distortion. Do you have any EQ recommendations for such a wall of sound type of band? What have you learned to punch your bass through as well?
Well, it depends on the room actually. I'll change my EQ depending on the stage sound and the room size. That's not one EQ fits all. So if it's like a really boomy room, I'll cut some low end, or if I need a bit more like punch, I'll boost some 1K. So it really depends on the sound of the room.
Okay. Well, that's very insightful. Now, is there a specific artist or sound or album that inspired your rig for this tour?
Yes and no. I've had a lot of inspirations over the years, anywhere from Nolly Get-Good to Mark Hoppus. So it's been an accumulation of tone based off of what they've kind of started with. For this band, I've kind of constructed my own sound based off what was recorded on the album and my kind of take on it. So I think I'm trying to find what that sound is, and I think we're getting really close to something really unique that's quite different from anyone else.
Okay. Well, that's very nice.
Awesome.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, last but certainly not least, we have Braden Ramstead, guitar player, backing vocals, positive energy, bright colors. What can you tell us about the guitar you brought with you overseas?
Well, we have our Jericho Avenger right here. This is absolute beautiful guitar, as you can tell. Got mahogany body, ebony fretboard, pearl inlays. It's got the Evertune, which is kind of just a necessity here with just touring in general. Seymour Duncan Jazz and JB pickups. Jazz up here, JB back here. Yeah, I don't know. This is just a unit of a guitar. It's also long scale. I think it was 26 inches. And so it does, with the real stretch chords, it does feel like a stretch, but luckily I have mutant hands, so it works. But yeah, this is a really gorgeous guitar. I can't remember exactly where they're made. Somewhere over here, but yeah.
Okay, great. Now, of the guitars you've played, how do you find this translates the shoegaze, grunge gaze sound with your style of playing?
Well, number one, it's a really easy guitar to play. It's silky smooth. The action is just, it's about as perfect as you can really get it, in my opinion. And it's just very comfortable. It's not too heavy. It's just a very, very well made guitar. Very, very comfortable to play on stage and stuff like that, and really reliable, especially because of the Evertune. So
great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into your pedal board a little. Now,
Alrighty.
I noticed you are both running the Head Rush. So
yeah.
How does your setup differ from that of Barrett's?
Well, mine, because doing, I think somewhat, I have some more effect heavy layering and stuff with some of my leads, lines and stuff like that, especially in our new song, Smoking in Church. But his is actually MIDI controlled, so he'll have his MIDI switching because he's singing way more than I am. So it really helps him a lot to not have to focus on pedal switching and all of that kind of stuff. So mine doesn't have that. I'm switching my effects live and all of that stuff. Eventually, we probably will get me on MIDI as well if we can do that successfully. But yeah, it's other than that, we're pretty similar because I've kind of well, number one, to say first that I'm very new to this, and he's helped me a lot with setting it up. It's kind of like his rig copied and then modified onto mine for what I'm doing. But it's, I don't know, it's I'm not used to it 100% yet. I'm still figuring it all out, but it's a amazing piece of gear. Like it's basically it's a thing I couldn't live without touring.
Beautiful.
So,
Okay. Now, would you say you're used to more traditional 1, 2, 3 pedals? Running in sequence with an amp.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All of I basically like come from a very jam band, Jimi Hendrix-esque, just plug and play kind of style. And so this has been a really awesome learning curve for me. I mean, just knowing more stuff and to be able to do different things and, adapt to different scenarios. Like, and now I can do this. And well, the other thing is you can fit this in a backpack and just backpack guitar. Boom. There you go. You can go anywhere in the world. Right. But yeah, it's an awesome machine, and I'm really excited to keep learning it and using it for other stuff too, because obviously we're using it for oceans, but you can basically make yourself sound like anything you really want with this. So really, really cool. Mm-hmm.
Now, coming from that kind of a background, traditional tube amps, big sound, how would
Yeah.
you say the head rush, your fly rig compares to having a live amp on stage?
It is very close. Sometimes you can maybe tell, but it's usually depending on kind of where you're playing and like the venue and the way they set it up and the way they adapt to it as well. If that's done well, it's you can't tell. I would really challenge a lot of people to do a blind test, and you're not really going to be able to tell the difference, that's really important. But yeah, coming from to be frank, when I started in this band, I didn't have this. I did have to adapt real pedals for this whole scenario too. And that was much harder because there's tons of switching and all that kinds of stuff. So this just makes it a breeze to play our stuff.
Great.
So,
Okay. Okay. Now, is there a specific guitar player or band or album tone that has inspired your style of playing, or your tones?
Yes, I would say some bands like Chevelle and Deftones, that kind of stuff, but also just in general, a very like laid back way of playing and like not overplaying at all. And learning from guys like even just, I can't say too many specific artists, but just styles of, I mean, obviously shoegaze. And then even like personally, we just saw Eternal Elysium here in Japan. And those are kinds of bands that just really lean on space and timing and stuff like that. And that's been a really, really awesome learning curve of just really serving the song, serving the music and not overdoing it,
Great. Okay, great. What's the most reliable piece of gear that you've ever owned or played with?
I believe it would have to be, I mean, obviously you're going to go with a lot of different guitars I've had because they're just awesome and they've never failed me other than breaking strings, which happens to everybody, obviously. The Wazacraft delay pedal that I have, Boss Delay, is awesome and made here in Japan. That's Wazacraft. And it's just such an awesome piece. I wish they had kind of the exact same version in the head rush. That's the one I'm really missing because number one, it sounds beautiful. It's a really, really good delay pedal, but you can really go ham with, messing with it and making crazy noises and stuff that you wouldn't expect. So it's just an amazing addition to a pedal board. And yeah, I've never had a problem with them. The Wazacraft stuff is awesome. Yeah.
Now, as the newest member of the band, what would you say was the biggest learning curve stepping into a genre with some of these seasoned shoegaze folk?
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot, kind of what I was saying earlier, for the most part, is of like the like learning to slow. Like I come from a 3-piece band where I'm the lead singer and lead guitar player, and I'm having to fill out a lot and play soloing and jamming, and you're just going hard. And so, really stepping back from that style and going into just like serving the song, a very whispery, ethereal, and just playing a good role. And then also like a lot of this gear and stuff like that. It's been a really awesome learning curve that I'm so thankful for. And then not only that, just the sheer amount of experience from these other guys. Like it's just like being in a band of older brothers. So it's really awesome. I can't be more thankful to be, in here right now with these guys and some of my favorite people in the world,
Great. Well, Thank you so much, Braden.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.